Hello, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are all well and that you've been doing some fantastic crafting in your craft space, wherever that may be. Now, I'm going to give a credit where credit's due. I saw a video or tutorial on YouTube from Marion Emberson, and from the minute I saw it, I was like, I've got to have a go. I've got to have a go. Now, she had bought a little mini pancake maker. This was still quite warm. She bought this little mini pancake maker for melting mainly embossing powders. Look at this. I've melted some embossing powder, then I've cut the heart out to create this shape. On this one, I have used I've melted the embossing powders, you can see like that, look at the shine, and then I've cut it out with a maple leaf, and then I've also used the same maple leaf to create a stencil to create my background. Isn't that absolutely amazing? You could be doing this with any shapes you want. I would keep it a simple shape, I really would, but I'm also going to have a go in the next few days of having a go at this with some wax melts, little melts for doing your little tools with. I know what I mean. I'm gonna have a go. I'll come back and do another video with that. But after seeing this, I had to get one of those little pancake makers. I've actually had it nearly 2 months now. I just not got on with making a video, so I had a go. Oh my goodness me, I've had so much fun. I don't know about you, I'll show you in a minute. I have so many embossing powders not being used. Now I will apologize now, the video isn't the shortest. It's not that long for me. It's only, it's not going to be too long. I've seen a lot longer, but I think you are going to love it. My first introduction to why you need a pancake maker in your craft room. See you in a minute. As I've already said, I'm not going to take credit for finding this technique. I saw this on a video with Marion Emberson, and she said she saw it on a video with somebody else. So it's just something that goes round and round and round. But I did buy the exact same little pancake maker that Marion bought. Now, do you remember years ago we used to have things like, was it called a melting pot? Something like that, where you used to be able to put things in to melt and blend them. Well, this is basically what this is going to do. Now, that's very hot, I can tell you. So this is just a little mini pancake maker. It plugs in. I've just got it plugged in. You can see the cable up there. It does get very hot, so please be warned that this is hot. But what I want to show you is I have so many embossing powders. Look at this. I could just bring it. This is not all my embossing powders, and the great thing about embossing powders is they don't go off, or I've never found them go off. Maybe they're not quite as good as they once were, but look at that. This is just a small selection of my embossing powders, and I don't use half of them. And some of these colours are colours that I perhaps wouldn't use when I was doing embossing. But oh my goodness me, they make for the most amazing enamel techniques that you want to do. So yeah, I've just literally grabbed a lot. Now, I'm not going to put my embossing powders straight onto the plate. That would be silly. All I've done is I've been downstairs into the baking drawer and got myself a piece of parchment, and I just used my circle dies. I've not even got I've got the right one here. I just got a piece of, I actually folded it into about 6 and cut it with there, so I know that these will always fit into there. So you want a couple of things before you get started. I've got a little spoon. You could be using an ordinary teaspoon. I've also got a little palette knife, and you might want to grab your tweezers as well. So these are sorts of things that you will need as well as your pancake maker. So there's different ways to use this. So I've put that on there. That is hot. I can feel that is hot. So as soon as I put my embossing powders on, they're going to melt. Now you might say, well, why don't you just do this onto card, put some clear embossing ink down, put your embossing powders on and do it with a heat gun? I don't think you get the same effect. The powders blow around with the heat gun, but you can't always get the same sort of random shape with your heat gun, I don't think. So I'm going to pick some colours. Right, the first one I want to do, quite autumnal. So I like that, and I like that green. I wanted something a bit orangey, and I don't think I've got orangey, but I've got that one. So we might have to be orangey with a twist. Oh, I've got that one. Let's go with the rare earth one. I've got some Chloe ones. Oh, that's a nice one. That's more copper. Oh, I think we're going to go that. Right, so what you need to do is you just, and I wouldn't be pouring them straight out of the pot because you're not going to get the control. Just pop them on to your parchment, baking powder paper. And you can see straight away, because this is really hot, where it's starting to melt. And I promise you, you're going to have so many embossing powders at home. Can you see that melting already? And it's just like a dry heat coming up. I'm going to pop some pink on. You can go as thick or as pale as thick or as thin as you want. We can move them around. We can swirl them. I can see I've got some gaps. These are definitely the much better autumn colours than I had before. I'd got one that was a little bit intense. I'm going to come in next with, so this one's one from Dreamers. So, you know, they all come from different places. You don't want any gaps. What I'm going to do anyway. You can do lots of different ways to do this. So we can pop those onto there. Oh, lovely autumnal colours. And I've actually just got one that's called Wintry Wonder. I'm just going to put a little bit of this in. It's got quite a bit of black in, so I don't want too much, but I'm just going to pop. Should have done that a little bit below, shouldn't I? But I can always do a bit of swirling in a minute to sort of swirl the colours around. But I just want to make sure that it's big enough. Let me just have a look. What I'm going to do is, once it's melted, I'm going to die cut it. So let me just lay my die. I'm going to just hover my die over. Oh, it's a bit close, isn't it? Let's go a little bit wider. I need a little bit more. I know it fits in here, so let's go. You can, like I say, you can layer them up. Let's come around here. I'm just going to go with a little bit more of this one, and then we can add some colours on top. I want some more of that pink. I'm just extending it a little bit bigger so that I know I'm going to be able to get my die to cut. I can come around here. All I'm seeing is the gold at the moment on there, so I'm going to go in. Right, I think that should do. Let me make sure I put the right lids on. So once I've done that, I haven't done this one very thick actually. I can see it twinkling. I'm just going to pop the lid down just for a minute, just to do that. Really doesn't take long. I'm going to have a play with my wax melts as well. We'll see where we go with that. I think that's going to work too. You can be putting card shapes in here, wooden shapes in here, and putting your embossing powders on top. It's entirely up to you. So now let's have a look. Oh, that's nearly done. So what I'm doing now is I'm applying heat from the top and from the bottom. So we can just give that one more minute. Okay, that's definitely got to be done. Perfect. Now, I'm going to just do maybe swirl. So this is what I call my dirty embossing pad. So one I do when I'm doing dirty techniques. And so I'm just going to run this through. I'm not to get the swirls, but I'm just to move the embossing powder around. And if you do take too much off, you can always put a little bit more. Just trying to move those colours to make sure that they're blended really well. I just put that on there so it didn't stick. Actually, I'm going to have to just go in with a tiddly little bit more because I've just maybe moved it a little bit too much and made it a bit thin. Because when I'm going to die cut it, it needs... There we go. That's melting virtually straight away because it's so hot. I can feel it. Oh, it's on the spoon. That'll do. Okay, let's just give that 1 minute. And once I know that's melting, all I'm going to do, that's melting, lovely. There we go. Just give that little piece a little bit, there we go, it's melted. So all I'm going to do is pick that up, palette knife under, and I'm just going to pop it on to my mat. Then I can come in with another one. Let's do a bit of different colours. Oh, let's go with a bit of blue. I'm not going to do quite as big on this one. Because this is a great thing, is you can be doing a couple of these at a time. And all we're doing is melting. It's a different way to melt that embossing powder. I'm just seeing what else I've got on here. Oh, that's pretty. Is this a new one? Oh, no. It's more of a silvery colour, isn't it? Oh, the combinations you could create, isn't it? You could just imagine. I want some pink again. Let's have a look. I had a pink there. These are all Chloe, Stamps by Chloe ones. Oh, that's quite strong, that pink, actually. That wasn't the one I was thinking. Actually, I'm not going to put any more of that one. Ah, it's next to it. I couldn't see for the colour. That was a bit too strong. That was the one I was looking for, I think. I think it was. Let's just go over. There. Right, now I want this to be sort of random around the outside. I don't want a circle or a set shape, because that's what I'm going to do is I want to use the whole shape if I can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but just have a play. Look at that. Can you see it twinkling? Can you see it twinkling on there? I hope you can. And I'm just going to pop that lid down just for 1 more minute, just to give it time. Now, this one has set. So all I'm going to do is, while that one does, look at that. Lift it up. Oh, look at that. I now have a solid piece of embossing powder. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to pop it back onto there. You can reuse the parchment paper, but I'm actually going to do something which means I'm not going to be able to. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, I've got a couple of holes. Why have I suddenly got a couple of holes in that one? I don't know, so I'm going to go in with a different colour. I'm going to go in with some new colours. Let's just put a little bit of green on there, a little bit there. It'll all blend. And if you want to, you know, either your pokey tool or a little cocktail stick, toothpick or whatever, you can go in and add on these. I saw Marion demonstrating this, and I actually bought this back in April, and I was like, oh, I've got to have one of those. I was hooked. And I don't normally go and buy things like that, but I just thought this looked like so much fun. So let's see if that one's melted. Oh, I think that might be about right. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reach over and unplug it, because it is very warm and it's going to stay warm for a while. So I'm going to just, there we go. I've got a little gap, but actually for what I need, it's fine. I'm going to pull that out, put that on there, and I'm just going to lift that out of the way. Okay, let's let that one dry for a minute, or harden. So what we're going to do is, you already saw me with this beautiful maple leaf, I think. Oh yes, this is maple leaf. These are Fleurs ones, so they are a good few years old, but I'm sure you've got things. And what I want to do is I just want to cut through that. So I'm going to pop it onto there, but I'm going to get another piece of baking parchment and I'm going to put my die on top, just so that it doesn't stick to that. So I'm going to put a piece of tape on. Now the tape I do struggle to get the tape to stick to the baking parchment, so I'm just going to hold it tight. And I'm just going to get my plates. And I've tried it with different combinations, and it was going through without the magnetic shim, but it wasn't always cutting that brilliantly. So for this, I am going to put all the plates on, because it's only the same thickness as a piece of card. I'm just holding that down so that it didn't move off the embossing powder. So all my plates, take it up to my die cutting machine. I'm sorry if this is a little bit longer video, but I think it's going to be worth it. I think you'll find it's worth it. So you can see it's cut through absolutely beautifully, and it stayed where I want it to be. Don't worry, we can just peel it away. There we go. Now it has broken around the edges, but that was because I was right up to the edge. So we can just peel that bit away, just there. There you go, look at that. I've got a little piece, there we go. You can see it's die cut brilliant. Now I've got baking parchment on the top, so all I need to do is just peel that piece off the top, and there, look, that piece. Look at that. Okay, it's not the most autumnal colours, but isn't that absolutely glorious? Absolutely beautiful. Now the other one I want to show you what I like to do is, I've got this one, and I want to do it before it sets too hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm not actually going to do it. No, I will do it the right way. I'm going to put a piece of baking parchment on. How many pieces of baking parchment? That's just one. And I'm going to put this heart right in the middle. Actually, I've made this a bit bigger than I needed to. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I just tape it down. The positioning of this one is key. So let's turn my plates over. Oops, I have moved that. Could do with... No, I'll just hold that for a minute, and then I'll come in with my magnetic shim, my plastic shim, and my second plate. All right, so let's see. Oh, it's moved, but never mind. You'll get the gist of what I wanted to show you. And I think it's really key. I should have taken one of the plates out. It's broken the outside bit. Oh, I've too much pressure, but I'll show you one that I did a minute ago. So I've got this gorgeous little enamelled heart. What I was hoping was the outside wouldn't break. I left it a bit too long. Now what you can do, and what I have done, is I've put this bit back onto the hot plate, and then I've just melted it back together before now. Not the ideal. But what I've got, look, I'll show you this one where I managed to get through it, is I've got the heart that's popped out, but I've got this amazing irregular shape from around the outside. I've got another one here with this heart. Oops, I've got a little piece of there with this heart that goes in there. So can you see? I think we'll move that bit out of the way because that didn't work. So you can see on here I was able to get them to cut without breaking the outside. I don't think I made that one thick enough. I was trying to show you too quickly. But look at all the different colours. So it's entirely up to you. You've got the heart, but I think these, let's call it the waist pieces, are really, really gorgeous. So I'm going to quickly put together a couple of little cards to show you how I'd use it. Now, please be mindful. I think I'm going to have this tool out again because I am just absolutely loving it. And I think we've got a long way to go with it yet. A lot of techniques that I've not yet shown you. Okay, so I have got a card base. I've got a piece of rose gold. So we're going to get our rose gold and we're going to put that onto our card base. Again, I'm not going to go fancy with this card because I think the detail is all in the enamel element on the front. But just think you can do all sorts of different shapes. Like I said, we'll have a go later, another time, with putting some wooden shapes in and then putting the embossing powders over the top and seeing if we can sort of enamel wooden shapes. So the next one I'm going to do is just my white, and I have put myself a little sentiment on there. I just did that with colour without thinking, but as long as I'm careful, it'll be fine. Okay, so the next thing I've got is just a white circle and some more rose gold, just because I keep trying to do total clean and simple and it doesn't happen. I keep trying and trying and trying, but every time I go to do that, I end up coming away with another idea. So that's going to go on there. So let's get this one, which is the one I was going to use. Was it this one I was going to use, or was I going to use? No, it wasn't that one, it was this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that onto here, and I'm actually going to do it with tacky glue. Now you could do it with a hot glue gun, that would work really, really well, but I'm going to do it with tacky glue because tacky glue will glue, it'll glue glass to paper and wood and things like that. Now it will take a bit to set, but once it's set it'll be really, really firm. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. Like I say, it's not going to hold straight away, but it will hold it enough. And then what I can do is grab some foam pads. Let's put a couple of foam pads underneath here. Take those off. Oh, it's totally moved. I knew it would because it's just gonna take a couple of hours to finally stick, but that's fine. So we can put that on there like that. Let's just grab my cloth, just wipe away that glue where I smudged it. I can get that off later. And then all I would do then is this little heart that's come out of there, I'm going to add, so I'm coming off my mat here. I get so excited. I'm going to put my tacky glue on the back of there, and then I'm just going to put that on there. And how about that for a lovely, lovely, simple card? I think that works so well. If you want to do clean and simple, you could raise the heart down there, but I just love that. So that's card 1. Card 2 is using my gorgeous maple leaf. So I was thinking, right, how can I carry on with this design? So what I've done, piece of white card, then I have just created a stencil using the maple leaf, and there was a smaller one in the set. So all I've done is 3 water reactive inks, just in autumnal colours, and I'm just going to do my green first. I'm going to pop them on, And I'm going to do these nice and random, if you can do random. So green on first, round the outside with the green. And believe you me, it'll be darker once you lift it than it looks. But I don't want it to be too dark. I haven't got a brown brush. I'm going to use the red. But that actually might work. And then round. I'm just not going to do it all over with the brown. I'm going to get my yellow. And then I'm just going to come down the centre. Just blend those in. I need a little bit more green. That yellow is a bit overpowering. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? And then you can then be doing smaller ones. Let's go off the card. We can go brown with a bit of green. Let's try and keep these nice and light. Keeping it nice and autumnal. And just keep working away across there until you've got that. That's all I've done. All I've done is just create that gorgeous background. You know what I like, how I like to sort of create my own backgrounds. They're unique. They're just how you want them, and that would be perfect. Okay, so we can then put this onto a card, which is going to look amazing. So again, mats and layers with my white layers. I'll speed this up a bit so you don't need to see me do all these. Okay, so I've just stuck those down. Just make sure that is nice and even. And I've just put a little bit of my thinnest foam tape on the back. You'll see I always tag my sticks to one at the bottom. So hopefully you'll be able to find that, which I love. Just taking the back off there. And if you at all struggle, if you find gluing easier and you find it hard to do the foam tape, well, just pop a little bit of glue on the back and that gives you your wiggle room perfectly. Just wanted to add a little bit of dimension just because the last card had none. So come on. And look, you see that white matte layer is, I'm just going to have to lift it up. Oh, yeah, it was right there. You just couldn't see it. Oh, now it's far too far over that side because I was not looking properly. Now, I wouldn't have been able to move this if I hadn't to put that glue on that foam tape. Just from the angle I'm at, I'm struggling to see this. That's much better. Much, much better. There we go. Put those on. Now, I've just cut the same brown and a piece of burlap card, which I love. Yeah, this is an old Create and Craft one. Yes. And I'm not going to put it in the centre. I'm going to put it down a little bit. Pop that just there. I'm just going to just press that down because I know there's foam tape under there. So it's just about getting that right. So yeah, looking absolutely gorgeous. What I want to do then is find my lovely little maple leaf. Now, that maple leaf is getting lost in there. Now, the original one I did was more autumnal colours. I don't know which one I want to use now. But what I've done is, if I can pick it up, what I did was I got my die, I turned my cardstock over and I drew around the outside of the die, because I showed this technique before. What you've got is you've got the difference between the blade and the outside, and that is like a perfect matte layer. And then I just cut it with my scissors so you can see the pencil line, because what I've tried to do is cut on the outside of the pencil line. So do I want to go with the brownie one or the pinky one? I think I'm going to have to go with the brown one. I think I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on with my wet glue. Actually, my 3D collage would have worked really well with this, wouldn't it? And then we can pop that onto there. Give that a couple of hours and that will be perfectly set. Talking of 3D collage, let's go in with 3D for this one. Just so you can see, there's lots of different glues and adhesives, and you can mix and match them and make them work. This is going to work well because I've got different heights. So what happens is the glue just adjusts to its right height. So I'm sorry if this is a bit of a long video. I hope you've been able to stick it out, but I think it's going to be worth it when you see the finished results. So we can take that. And then the final bit that I had was I cut the word cherish from black and from white as well. So we're going to pop that onto the back. I've done it black and white and matte and layered them. And because I'm putting it onto the burlap, then it's absolutely fine to do the white layer. I wouldn't put it white if I was doing it up there. So we can do that, and that's going to fit just like that. And then just to bring in the black, we shall put a couple of gems on. You know me at the moment and my gems, loving them. You could go with one of your autumnal colours, but I'm just going with the black to do that. What I do need to do though is put one just there, because I didn't bother saving the dot as it came out. Let's just do one more. I am picking white spots to put those on, but how about like that? I know it's not autumn at the moment, we're just going into summer, so maybe you want to go in with the more autumnal one, but how about that? So 2 different ways to use your embossing powders in, oh, this is cooled down, in your little mini pancake maker. Now I got mine off Amazon, and there will be links down at the bottom down here if you want to get one. Really good fun, but please, once you've had your enamel embossing powders in there, please don't take it into the kitchen and make pancakes for the children. This is, you know, once it's gone over to the craft side, these things shouldn't go back into food preparation. My daughter was eyeing it up and I said, sorry, no, it's contaminated now, you can't now make pancakes. But just 2 different ways or 2 different techniques, you know, effects with melted embossing powders, because I'm sure, just like me, look at these, I've got so many. I've still got boxes of them in the drawers. I'm sure you've got lots of embossing powders that you're never going to use. So please have a go. See if you can also get somewhere you can use the waste. It's a bit harder, but it is possible. But, you know, I've got a nice collection of lovely, enamelled little hearts that I could use for a project now. You see, you know, I've got this lovely aperture. It's entirely up to you. And the great thing is, these bits that broke off, all I need to do is pop them back into, I've got all these bits, I can pop them back onto the hot plate, and actually those will melt again. I can mix the colours around and use it again. So there is absolutely no waste. These bits will melt again and can be used. So I love it. I love it. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's not very often I get suckered in with a gadget, but this was one, after seeing Marion use it, that I felt I had to have. Please let me know if you enjoyed that and if you are tempted to buy one. You know, I'm not selling for a brand now. I'm just showing you what I am enjoying using. Clean and simple, a little bit with a little bit of a background. Still got quite a clean and simple look. I am loving it. I hope you are too. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. So until then, happy crafting. Bye for now.